Most business advice is like, just start. But just start what? This quiz will walk you through every option, and by the end, you'll know exactly which one to start based on your preferences. So this is what the quiz looks like. It's kind of unhinged. We spent a lot of time working on it, so let's dive straight into it. You start here at the top. So the first question is, how fast are you hoping to make money? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 3 broad self-employment models. Number 1 is to sell a service. Number 2 is to sell a product of some kind, whether that's physical or digital. And number 3 is to sell your influence. So that's essentially building a personal brand, becoming a content creator, an influencer, whatever that might be for you. Now, in my experience, the business model that is the quickest to make money with is selling services. So that's essentially freelancing. And freelancing can look like so many different things. I would say most jobs, most skills, most experience that you have can be adapted into a freelancing option if you want it to be. You know, even like corporate experience can be done on a freelancing capacity in a self-employed way. So there are lots of options here. You could become a freelance web developer, social media manager, graphic designer, virtual assistant, digital business manager. That's what I ended up doing. I've started a lot of different types of businesses, and freelancing has been the cheapest business to start. I just started with the laptop that I had and Wi-Fi basically. So let's keep going on this business decision tree. The next question I have for you is, do you have a special valuable skill that people would happily pay you for already? So this is basically everyone who has experience already, who has skills already. Let's say you are currently a corporate project manager, or you have design experience or copywriting, you have a degree or certification in something. So if that's the case, we probably want to build off of that. If the answer is no, don't worry. We all start somewhere. We all start with no work experience, no skills, nothing going for us, and we all have to start from zero essentially. So you are not alone. Everyone has started where you currently are. All right, then the next question is, do you have time to spend learning an entry-level skill? And by time, I mean it can just be like 1 to 2 weeks. So if the answer is no, you don't have time to learn an entry-level skill, that's fine. Do you know how to Google? Honest question. And if the answer is no, all I'll say is you're being an absolute silly Billy. And that's not the energy we're going for here. So I'm going to loop you back into, yes, you know how to Google. You know how to Google. Google is free. And guess what? We're even luckier. We don't even just have Google now. We have ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have a bunch of AI tools that are even better than Google to help you learn things and teach you things and help you figure things out for clients, right? So I'm going to loop you into yes without your consent. Okay, so if the answer is yes, hi. So what I would recommend is start by selling your time and applying for simple, beginner-friendly jobs on freelancing platforms. I feel like a lot of times beginners with no experience think, oh, if I don't have a skill, I don't have experience, I have nothing to offer the client, and that's just not true. Business owners are extremely busy people. So oftentimes they're not looking for you to have some special skill, special experience, or to know everything that they don't know. That's not what they're looking for. Sometimes they're just looking for an extra set of hands. Okay, so even if you don't have experience or skills, you can offer your time for money. I will also say this is such a good opportunity because when you're doing a bunch of different small things, you learn very quickly what you like and what you don't, what you like and what you don't like, and that helps you pick a specialized skill set later on as well. That would be thinking about roles like virtual assistant, data entry, translation or transcription, junior roles in, let's say, content writing, admin work, customer service, simple social media graphics using templates. If like design is something you're really passionate about. When I started online, I just did a bunch of random stuff for everybody. I did voiceovers. I did some light translation. I formatted presentations for people. I did research for people. I uploaded blog posts to WordPress for people. I just did anything that I was like, I can Google it and figure it out. So don't overthink this part too much, basically. Your skills are how you solve problems for people, right? And how you solve problems is how you generate value for them. And that's all that business is. People paying you for value you are generating for them by solving their problems. So the better your skills, the bigger problems you can solve for people, and the bigger problems you can solve for people, the bigger money you make, basically. Your number 1 priority through all of this, for everything I'm going to talk about, is to learn skills. So even if you are starting here with beginner level services, I'm going to loop you back into, do you have time to spend learning an entry level skill? I'm looping you back to, yes, you can make time. You can make even just 10 minutes a day to learn some skill. Cool. So welcome to this part where you get to pick what you would enjoy doing the most. Now, I don't want you to overthink it. I don't want you to obsess over choosing a single thing and feel like, oh, if I don't know just one thing and my favorite thing, then something is wrong with me and I can't. It's normal to like multiple things. I'm just asking you basically what sounds most interesting to try first. And then start with that. And then if you like it, great, do more of that. If you don't like it, don't worry, come back, pick something else. There's also, I would say, a lot more overlap than people think in everything you can pick. So you can really make a role your own. If you're like, I kind of liked a little bit of this, I kind of like a little bit of this, you can create like a little hybrid. That's essentially what I did. I was like, I love project management. I loved systems. I loved managing team members and like hiring cool team members. And I kind of put that all together and I was like, I'm a business manager. That's what I want to do. There's also, I will say, when you work with small businesses, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs of any kind, really, there's a lot of opportunity to grow your role with them as well because they have such small teams. They're looking for people who will kind of be open to saying yes and learning lots of stuff. All right, so let's pick some things that you would enjoy and figure out what are some roles that could be a fit for you. So the first option is if you're like, I love teaching, I love coaching, I feel deeply called to it. There are lots of things you can do with this, right? So here are some examples of based on what topics you might enjoy teaching the most. Teaching academically or language, you can become an online tutor for school subjects, test preparation coach, curriculum developer, foreign language teacher. If you're like, I love teaching business skills, professional skills, then you might try something like business coaching or career coaching. Of course, after you've invested time into learning some of these skills that are required to become a business coach, a proper business coach, because I think there are a lot of people who aren't doing the learning part and then just offering it, which I don't think makes any sense. You could try learning and developing yourself into a marketing consultant, a workshop or bootcamp or trainings teacher. Examples, you could teach things like fundamentals of Excel. You could do corporate training. There are like so many things you can teach here if you feel deeply called to teaching, especially business skills. If you're really passionate about teaching health and wellness, you can become a personal or group trainer. There's so many classes online that you can do. You can become a nutrition or wellness coach, help people with meal planning or help them with their nutrition. You could teach things like mindfulness, meditation, breath work. I've worked with a virtual breathwork coach before. I love the experience. If you're passionate about teaching arts or other hobbies, you can become a music instructor, art and painting tutor, coaching in photography or video or podcast editing. You could host DIY crafting workshops for knitting, for calligraphy. And I will say, if you ever want to do it more than one-on-one, the other options I'm going to be talking about in the rest of this video, so creating digital products and potentially becoming a content creator or building a personal brand, that could be interesting. If you like working with your hands, of course, there are lots of things you can do there. Home services, personal chef, baking or cake decorating, moving services. There are a million things here. If you like writing and words are your thing, then there are so many options for you. So here are a few subsections you can look at. If you enjoy writing about topics that you like the most, you can think about becoming a content writer, copywriter, script writer, technical writer, social media content writer. Then you can look for clients that are within the spaces of topics you like. Like, for example, if you're like deeply passionate about, let's say, cooking and baking, you can look for baking bloggers, cooking influencers, people who have written content maybe through Substack or a blog, a website of some kind, and pitch to help them write in the topic of your choice, basically. So if you prefer editing content versus writing, you can become a proofreader, you can become a copy editor, which there was a time when I was like, maybe I'll become a proofreader because I love reading and I love finding mistakes. That's like very type A, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. Translating text, become a translator. If you feel more called to words in the sense of transcribing and captioning, watching things and transcribing and captioning, then you might want to look into becoming a transcriber or a subtitler, captioner of some kind. Next category is if you like design, editing, being creative, then what do you enjoy here the most? So if you love working with cameras, so many options. Under photography, you could do senior portraits, weddings, product photography, headshots. You could do real estate photography. Or you could do videography. If your favorite thing is graphic design, you could become a graphic designer, an illustrator, presentation or course designer, UI or UX designer, web designer, social media graphics. If you love editing, you could become a video editor, a podcast editor, an animator. If you're like, I love acting and performing, then maybe voiceover acting. So for courses, for social media, for corporate videos. Fun fact, I actually did voiceovering at the start of my freelancing career because, again, I was trying everything that I was like, I have a voice. I could try voice acting, which I know voice acting is like a serious skill and experience. I don't know who gave me the audacity to be like, I could do it. Okay. You could become a UGC creator. You can become an audiobook narrator, virtual host, instructor, or presenter. Another fun fact, I once booked a virtual escape room experience on Airbnb for team bonding, and there are people who are virtual presenters professionally. If you like tech, there are so many things you could do under tech, right? If you're really called to building stuff, instead, you might become a front or back end developer, a full stack developer, a mobile app developer. You could also go into like no code. If you're more like into the creative tech side of things, you might become a UI or UX developer. You might become a game developer. If you're like, I love numbers and data, that's my thing. Bookkeeping, accounting, data entry, data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, ads manager. I feel like ads management is so much about numbers and data as well. So there's so many things there too. If you like organization and planning, high five. Me too. This is what I picked. Then project management, event planning, digital business management, which is what I did for many, many years as a freelancer. If you're like, I like supporting others and more admin work, then I would be thinking about which you prefer. Do you like supporting the business ops? So then I would be thinking about becoming a virtual assistant, admin assistant, appointment setter, specialized assistant of some kind, or supporting customers. So then you could think about becoming a customer support representative, a community manager. If you love sales and marketing, so many things. You can become a social media assistant. You can become a paid ad specialist, SEO specialist, email marketer. You can become a sales development rep or sales assistant of some kind. If you love consulting and strategy, there's so many things you could be a strategist for. Basically everything I mentioned, right? You could be a business strategist. That's like overall marketing strategist, content strategist, YouTube strategist. I've paid so many YouTube strategists. I've paid copy strategists. I've paid design strategists. I've paid, who else have I paid? Everybody. Marketing strategist. I don't know. There's so many things. Okay, so those are all of the options that you can think about based on what you're interested in. So now some tips and tricks and tiny tasks for you to start working as a junior freelancer and learning your skills. Number 1, Google content to learn this skill. I know I'm saying it a lot, but it is truly the most important thing here. Create your own learning plan. Focus on learning practical skills, and if you have the money to invest, maybe invest in something that includes practical projects that you can take action on. And make a learning goal. So make a learning commitment for yourself. I promise again to remind you why you're doing a learning goal. It is the best way to invest in your biggest asset. And that is how you solve better problems for clients. And that is how you make big money in the long run. So maybe your learning goal is, I'm going to spend 30 minutes daily learning this thing for the next 3 months, for example. And when you're ready, when you feel like, okay, I guess when you're ready is the wrong word because everyone's going to be like, I'm not ready. I'm never going to be ready. I have to learn forever. I have to learn until I'm 80. When you have learned a little bit of skills, start creating real projects for real businesses or small content creators with, let's say, like 10 to 50K followers, and send them the projects that you're making for them. Hey, I wrote you a little TikTok script based on your niche and your audience and your content pillars. Here it is. That's practice for you. It can go in your portfolio as a project. And potentially they're like, this is really cool. I love this. Thanks for making this for me. I have hired people, like cold people I did not know, via pitches where they made me something for free. And also, by the way, I have an entire cold pitching series here on YouTube that will be super helpful if you want to dive into that deeply and you want to take that as your client acquisition method. Once you have at least one testimonial, you can create a simple portfolio and include the following sections, which I talk about here on my channel all the time. Your I help statement. So example, I build custom plugins that add the functionality your website needs without slowing it down. So very specific and addresses the problem that you're helping someone fix. You should include examples of prior work, results, testimonials, packages and pricing, like starting at whatever price. Your About Me section with some credibility and a CTA. I have lots of videos about how to set up portfolio. I even have a video with a free portfolio template if you want. And then I would commit to getting in front of at least 5 clients a week. So contact your existing network, attend IRL networking events. You can go to like your local chamber of commerce events, like meet up and go to small business meetups locally. You could pitch businesses online via Instagram, via TikTok, via LinkedIn, via email. You can create content about your topic. You can apply to jobs on freelancing sites. There's so many different ways to just make sure you get in front of at least 5 clients every single week. The more you get in front of them, the more chances you're creating for yourself to make money, essentially. Yeah. And the PS here is to, let's zoom in here, watch my videos to learn literally everything you need to know about starting a freelance business. Yay. Now, a quick caveat. Forget get rich quick. Get rich quick, honestly, in my opinion, is more like waste time quick because you just randomly jump from sexy thing to sexy thing without really building roots. And no matter which business model you pick, you will have to build roots. You will have to build foundation. You will have to invest even when you feel like nothing is really happening. You will still have to put in the time. The right roots, no matter which business model you pick from what I'm going to talk about today, is investing in your biggest asset, which is, say it with me, you. And sticking with things long enough for them to work. Okay, caveat over. Now I'm going to go back here to, do you have a special valuable skill people would pay you for? So we went down no, But if you do have special valuable skills already, then the next question I would ask you there is, do you want to do that work for yourself or build a team and do it for you? If you're like, I want to work solo, I want to dive into it one-on-one, then offer your skills as a freelancer. So here are a few tiny tasks to start working as a skilled freelancer if you already have experience to build off of. So go through your job history and pick 3 of your best work samples, email at least 3 people you worked with, ask them for a testimonial because that's going to really pad up the credibility of your portfolio or your website, whatever you want to build. Then create a simple portfolio. I have a video with a portfolio template. I'll link it down below if you want to grab that and include the following sections, which I already briefly talked about. And same task as before, get in front of at least 5 people every single week. All right, if you would rather build a team to essentially work with you and do it for you, then my next question is, do you have the managerial experience and money to hire and manage a team? If the answer is no, then I would potentially start as a freelancer first. As you're freelancing, invest in learning the managerial skills, and then you can always come back to this because as an agency founder, because that's essentially what you would be doing to found a team to offer services is becoming an agency, is you would have to manage multiple clients, people, and projects. So I would try to gain experience first as a freelancer. I think that'll make everything easier and make connections so that you have that client flow coming in before you start an agency willy-nilly, essentially. But if you want to build a team offering services, you have the managerial experience and money to hire and manage a team, then I would say start an agency. Then here are your first tiny tasks to start an agency. So choose your agency's speciality. What's your service? Who do you serve? Get really specific. Create a simple website. Include the sections we talk about. Start creating your business systems and processes so that your new hires are set up for success. And I have a video. It should be out by now, I think, all about systems. So that's definitely your number 1 video to watch if this is the path you want to go down on. Make your first hire. You can look in your existing network. You can look on freelancing platforms. And then, of course, it's your job to keep the client pipeline flowing. So get in front of at least 5 clients a week. All right. So that's basically everything I have to say about services. This video is sponsored by Framer. Are you trying to start a business, but building a website makes your head hurt? Introducing Framer, the no-code website builder that is easy like a breeze, looks like money, and works like magic. For when you want to launch your site without launching into a spiral. Framer has a library of more than 700, yes, you heard that right, 700 templates to help you get your website launched in just minutes. Everything's drag and drop. You don't touch code. You just click around and feel powerful. It's not rocket science. It's just Framer.
Framer made me feel powerful. I haven't felt powerful since 2017.
But wait, there's more. A beautiful functioning website like this would normally run you in the thousands. But Framer is offering their revolutionary no-code tools for the low price of just $5 a month. That's framer.link/mynameisdea. Act now and slay responsibly. Thank you so much to Framer for sponsoring this video. Once you figure out your perfect business model from this quiz, you're going to want to turn your business idea into reality, and Framer is the tool to help you do just that. And thank you for watching the videos. You sitting there right now, thank you for watching these videos. Oh, and PS, for everybody who's still watching the sponsored part so diligently, we're linking the quiz down below for you as a free bonus so you can go through it at your own pace. Thank you so much. Now let's come back to the other 2 business models I talked about. So if you're okay with investing some time, money, and upfront effort, then I would be thinking about what sounds most fun to you, right? So maybe you already have a job and this is just a side hustle and it doesn't have as much financial pressure for you and you're looking to explore something, but you have a bit of runway and not everything is riding on making money immediately, because realistically, most businesses take time to get going, and that is just something I feel like is not talked about really online as much as it should be. So what sounds most fun here? So if you're like, actually, everything you just talked about, selling a service, freelancing, working with clients one-on-one, that sounds really fun. You can be looped back into that pipeline, totally fine. If selling a product sounds most fun, that's what we're going to talk about next. And if you're like, actually selling my influence, building a personal brand, becoming a content creator sounds really fun, that's what we'll talk about after products. So let's talk about selling a product, whether that is digital or physical. So that can be things like online courses, workshops, retreats, sourcing physical products and selling those, ebooks, handcrafted products. So then, of course, the first question is, would you prefer selling digital or physical products? So digital, I feel like, is more education and knowledge based. So it requires some skill or knowledge for you to package that knowledge up into a digital product and sell it. But if you're like, yeah, that sounds good to me, I prefer selling digital products, then the first question I have for you is, do you have a specific or unique skill or knowledge you could sell? If no, then I would potentially consider freelancing first to develop your skills again. So if you have unique skills or knowledge you could sell, then my next question is, do you want to sell a one-time thing or an ongoing subscription? One-time thing, I would be thinking about ebooks, templates, workshops, courses, digital events that you could host. If it's an ongoing thing you prefer, then I would be thinking about maybe a paid newsletter or a SaaS product or a tool of some kind. You could also be thinking about a paid membership or community. Like I mentioned before, lots of people have paid memberships and communities, so you could offer it like that. Now, if you're like, I actually think I would prefer selling physical products, I will say with physical products, there's more money you have to invest upfront to buy the physical product and potentially more responsibilities as well, because you have to deal with, sourcing, shipping, more logistics stuff. So are you willing to handle inventory and shipping logistics? If the answer is no, then I would be thinking about like non-inventory businesses like Amazon FBA or drop shipping or print on demand. So basically you're not holding any of the product. You're just like, if somebody orders a hoodie that you designed, then you go and fulfill that with your print on demand supplier and then they ship it to them, for example. And you're not like, you don't have 100 hoodies in your house basically. If you're like, yes, I would be happy to handle inventory and shipping logistics, then I would be thinking about, do you want to make the goods yourself or find a supplier? If you're like, I want to make the goods myself, then like selling handcrafted products, then I'd be thinking about, do you have crafting skills already? If the answer is no, then take some time to learn a crafting skill or consider outsourcing potentially. Once you have crafty skills, then you can think about selling handcrafted goods on your own website or Etsy, Shopify, lots of options there and lots of videos on YouTube about that specifically as well. Now, if you want to find a supplier, you don't want to make the physical product yourself. So that's essentially sourcing the products and reselling them. Then I'd be thinking about, do you have the money to invest in this? If no, then I would be, again, going back to the non-inventory businesses. So Amazon FBA, drop shipping, or print on demand. If yes, then it's like, do you want to sell your own or create your own brand, or do you want to sell something that's an existing brand? So if you don't want to sell your own brand, then I'd be thinking about wholesale or retail arbitrage. If you want to create your own brand, then I would essentially start a private label. So for example, you create your own clothing line and you create a brand and website around your clothing line and your story. All right, so if product is your choice, your first tiny task to start a digital or physical product business is number one, find one pain point you could solve with a product. So talk to people you know about what pain points they have, go do research on social media, figure out within your industry or topic of choice what problems people struggle with, confirm people would actually put down money for your product, validate one way or another. You can create a landing page with a waitlist, create the basic version of your product, and then send your beta round offer to your email list, the people that signed up to your waitlist, send it to people you know, send it to the people you spoke to when you were confirming their problems. So do that. And then run the beta round, listen to the feedback people are giving you about the physical product, validate your solution works, gain those first few reviews, those first few testimonials, and tweak your offering, your product line from there essentially. All right, so that's products. Now let's get into the third big type of business model, which I feel like is a much more recent one. I mean, recent, I guess, in what scale, but that is essentially selling your influence. So that is becoming a content creator, creating a personal brand. So that looks like becoming an Instagram, TikTok influencer, podcaster, writer, YouTuber, streamer. So my first question there is, do you mind putting yourself out on the internet? That's a very important question. So if your answer is no, I prefer being behind the scenes, I don't want my business to revolve around my face and my name, then my next question is there some kind of content you could create that doesn't involve attaching your name or your face to it? If yes, then you could become essentially a faceless content creator. So for example, you could be a faceless tech reviewer. You can do unboxings where your face is not in it. It's just like filming the actual camera that you're opening and giving reviews on. You could create content about your pets. I know people who are making great money from essentially making their pets into influencers. So you could think about doing something like that. You could do something like ASMR, like soap cutting. I watch soap cutting videos on TikTok all the time. You could do drawing, nail art in a very specific niche. You could do sewing. You could create outfits without showing your face. You could do video essays or news where it's just like edited together footage and your face is not part of it at all. But if you're like, okay, no, I can't think of any content that would be faceless that I would enjoy creating, then I would consider freelancing for a content creator. That's kind of a good option because you still get the benefits of working in the content creation industry. You'll learn a lot without having to put your face and name to it. Now, if you're like, yeah, I don't mind putting myself on the internet, or I will just have to get used to it because this is what I want to do, then the next question I have here is, do you have 6 months, at least 1 to 2 years to spend learning and creating content consistently with little to no revenue. I feel like this is the harsh sauce that nobody's saying. Creating content, building a personal brand takes a really long time. It takes a really long time to get good at the skill of content creation. Some people get really lucky. Some people have like a natural skill or ability and they get going really fast. They monetize really fast. They go viral with it and they just kill it. So that's possible, but I feel like that is a very small percentage. So I think if you feel deeply called to content creation, the number one thing you need to be doing is learning about content creation. So that's not just consuming content, but actually studying content. So when I was studying content, every time I was watching something or clicking something, I was like, why did I just click on that? What was interesting about that? What was that hook? How could I rewrite that hook for my niche? You know, like that's studying versus just watching and enjoying, basically. So if you don't have the time to invest in learning content, you're like, actually, I'm not sure I love content enough to like spend the time learning, then I would consider freelancing for a content creator first. Again, I feel like working for a content creator is a really good way to shortcut the learning process because they will have already way more condensed knowledge than you trying to figure everything out yourself, basically. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that. If you're like, no, I have it, I want to spend the time, I want to take the time, I want to learn, I'm totally happy to create content consistently with like 0 things coming back to me. And again, I'm not saying that nothing is going to come back for 2 years. Things will probably come back. I just want to prepare you with the right expectations. So if your answer there is yes, yay, I would say, can you pick one thing that you would want to be known for already? Like, do you feel deeply called to something? You're like, I want to be like a tech and gear content creator. Like that's the only thing I want to do. If yes, that's really cool. If no, that's so normal. If you can't pick one thing yet, spend time trying a bunch of different things and just accept it'll take a bit longer. And that's good because if you try a bunch of things, you're also practicing content creation, right? If you're creating a bunch of TikTok videos about a bunch of different things to see what sticks and see what you enjoy talking about most, then you're practicing. Clarity comes from taking action. Clarity does not come from sitting around researching, planning, overthinking for the millionth time about exactly what might be the perfect strategy, perfect decision. There's no such thing as the perfect decision. The wrong decision is better than no decision because the wrong decision gives you data to make better decisions later. So clarity comes from taking action. Take action already. If yes, you can pick something that you would want to be known for. My next question is, do you enjoy being on camera and in pictures? If the answer is no, then my question is, do you enjoy talking and recording your voice? If the answer is no, my question is, do you enjoy writing? If the answer is no, then I'm guessing you're not sure what kind of content creator you want to be, or you're not a fan of creating any type of content, then I might consider freelancing for content creators or businesses in the meantime so that you can try out a bunch of things and figure out what you enjoy doing. If you enjoy writing, do you prefer writing long or short form content? If it's short form content, then you could become a microblogger for platforms like X or Threads or LinkedIn. There are lots of people who have made great thriving careers through like being a LinkedIn influencer, essentially. Writing long form content, you could think about becoming a blogger or a newsletter writer, using tools like Substack or Medium to write your content and share it with other people. If you enjoy talking and recording your voice instead, then podcasting might be a great option for you. If you enjoy being on camera, being in pictures, being in video, then video is probably going to be your medium. Then my question would be, do you prefer pre-recorded or live videos? If live, then I would be looking into becoming a streamer, a Twitch streamer, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube live streamer, whatever that might look like for you. If you prefer pre-recorded, like me, because then you can take your time, not worry about things. Then my question is, do you prefer making long or short videos? Short form, then I would be thinking about TikTok and Instagram first. If it's long form, then right here, YouTube. Cool. So my first tiny tasks and tips if you want to start a content creation personal brand business. Number 1, choose your niche. So what are a few things you're curious about? Again, you don't have to know what exactly one thing you want to do and you're going to commit to it for the rest of your life. Validate that there's actually a gap in the market and that people are looking for this type of content. Look at the people in that niche. My next tip is I would just say focus on one platform to start that fits with your niche. I wouldn't recommend doing a bunch of platforms because I feel like the platforms, though some are similar, still have their nuances, and it's better to get really good at one platform first before you start expanding and content repurposing to a bunch of different things. Begin looking for trends in your niche, save them, and then think about how to adapt them to your style. That's really good for learning about content creation, and I did that all the time as well. Is I would look at what's working for other niches on YouTube, and then I would adapt their packaging to my niche instead to practice ideating. Start using with just the equipment you have already. I feel like a phone is really all you need to start with for most things. Like, phones are so powerful nowadays. And don't tell anybody who has listened to any podcast episode I've ever recorded, but some of my podcast episodes I recorded like this. I'm really sorry. So I feel like the equipment we have can go a long way. Don't feel like you now need to spend thousands of dollars buying a bunch of stuff. Create a learning program for yourself. This is so important. This is like the most important thing. You have to study content creation. I've already said this. If you want to be a content creator, you have to take it seriously. We want to improve 1% with our content every time we post something, ideally. And post at least one time a week to get started. I want you to just get into the habit of posting, because posting holds you accountable and it gets you data, like from people saying like, oh, this is interesting. Or if you don't get any views, nothing. That's also still data. That's still useful data to then optimize and be like, maybe I need a stronger hook. Maybe my retention was very good. Maybe I didn't pick a good idea. Do the zoom out, Maya. Do the zoom out for the people. That's the decision tree. Then the next video I want you to watch is this one, which is all about how I started my first business in just a Google Doc. I feel like that will be good no matter which type of business you want to start, because it helps you think through what you are offering in a way that is customer centric versus just what you want to offer, if you know what I mean. And then you can use that to validate whatever it is you're looking to do. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Okay, bye. Nutty says bye. She's so cute. Okay.